Hello, world, universe, or wherever you're listening to us from. This is Piquing Duck, and welcome to another episode of Wine Fueled Conversations. And I know I said we're never going to do this again, but here we are again with a nice little bottle of Moscato. And, we just need to lubricate our thoughts. And I say we because I have the wonderful, fabulous, and awesome, lovely friend of mine, Michael. Say hello, Michael.
Hello. My name is Michael. I'm originally from the States. I've been in Beijing for 5 years.
Yes, and he gave us a wonderful Beijing/China spiel. For anyone who's never been to China, that's just basically the first thing that anyone ever asks you.
It's literally the first question anyone asks is, how long have you been in China?
Yeah. How long have you been in China?
Yeah. What are you doing?
What do you do?
What area do you live in?
Do you speak Chinese?
Fuck no.
And we have our very first F-bomb, which is fine. This is an adult conversation. So Michael and I have been friends for maybe
almost a year now.
And we have found a very interesting point of connection, which is our love for Golden Girls.
Yes, Dorothy. Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Wait, I need to go to someone like, yes, we have, Dorothy. Yes, we have.
Oh, Blanche, you're a two-bit whore and I love you.
That's why I'm not wearing any underwear right now.
So I know in the previous episode with Zach, you heard me calling him Dorothy, but that's just because he's from Kansas. With us in our group in our group setting, I am known as the Dorothy of the group because I apparently tell it like it is.
Yes, you do.
And Michael is from the South, so
I'm a Southern debutante.
So he's the Southern Belle.
Yes.
And we have fun with that, but mostly we've also connected through our own personal experiences and personal traumas, which leads us to what we are talking about today. And the topic of conversation is finding healing.
And so much needed to talk sometimes.
Yes. So Michael and I have, or rather in this year, in the past year, we bonded over a couple of experiences that Michael had that were very difficult for him. And as someone who has been through similar experiences, I found it easy, or I found it necessary to give him the tools or to have that conversation with him to help him overcome very painful and very hurtful personal experiences.
You literally pulled me out of a dark hole that I did not want to be in.
Yes.
And that's saying something.
That's saying something. And that's not a sexual euphemism. Please do not even go there.
It could be, but we're not going there.
We're not going. This is not that show. We might have that show later, but this is not that show.
The first cackle.
We also cackle a lot. The two of us are big cacklers. But this is a very heavy topic, possibly. And this is one that we're going...
Let's not read out my size.
Michael is a svelte. He is a petite, okay?
I'm luscious, thick, and juicy. We can say it like it is.
You are a Blanche petite.
Yes, I am.
You're a Blanche petite, which is lovely, and I love it. But this is something that we're going to have to approach with a bit of delicacy. See, this happened with Zach. Zach got upset because there was no wine. I have this one getting upset because he's finishing the wine, and we haven't even gotten started with the topic of conversation.
I'm a messy bitch.
But I love you anyway. So, Michael, I personally know your stories. You have shared a lot with me.
Yes.
And in your own words and within parameters that are comfortable for you, maybe you could share with us what some of those traumatic experiences for you were that then propelled you to wanting to look for and trying to get healing in your life.
Well, we're going to start off young then. Mm-hmm. And this is some topic you don't know. You know it briefly, but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So back when I was the gentle age of 10, 11 years old, I lived in a small Hoboken town where it was a two-street town. Mm-hmm. And when I mean a two-street town, literally, one main street, two main streets, like a T.
I cannot even imagine that. Yeah. Okay.
The movie theater there played one movie a week.
Are you talking about like a school? Was this a school?
No, this was a small town.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I have no listen. I have no frame of reference. I come from Nairobi. Nairobi is one of the biggest cities in Africa. So I'm a city boy.
This is like 3 hours away from where I used to live in Las Vegas most of my life.
Right.
So this is like 3 hours away from Las Vegas. It was a small town. everybody knew everyone. So, of course, outsider coming in, you're immediately the scapegoat.
Yeah.
So, yes, I was a child. I was a bullied child. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
But everyone, when people think bullied child, I'm talking about like I was bullied to the point where I could have been one of those shooter kids back in the early 2000s.
Right.
Like, I bottled everything in, all the hurt, all the pain. My mother did not know this. I did not tell her this, but also because she was raising me as a single mother.
Yes.
So just one day before school started, I was just trying to be normal and play with the other kids, play basketball. I got gut checked. Literally, elbowed in the stomach, pushed down. And I said, hey, why did you do that? The kid just turned around and gave me, I don't know if you knew about the like slang signs that people used back in the 1990s. Like, so this kid it's the suck it sign.
Oh, the bang bang sign.
The bang bang sign.
Oh, the ones that they used to use. Yeah, the ones that they used to use on WWE. I remember.
Exactly.
Who was it that used to use that?
Triple H. I know wrestling.
Was it Triple H? Yes, the bang. Yeah, yes, I remember that.
Shawn Michaels. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Professional wrestling, but more about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. But he literally just did that, and I don't know what happened. It just triggered, and when I mean triggered, I was a bomb. I literally stood myself up, took like one little leaping, my 5'5" to 190-pound body at that time.
Girl.
Yeah, I was a little bull. And I literally charged and tackled him down to the ground and just started punching and punching. I did not know what was going on. I saw red. I was literally a bull charging.
Oh, yeah.
It took a teacher pulling me off. Short story short, my mom saw I had this real target on my back, and for her, she said, for my protection, I'm sending you to your father.
Right.
And he was living in Minnesota at the time. He sent me away. So she sent me, I say sent away. And it was basically it. And my dad immediately put me in therapy. He thought I had anger issues because of it.
Were you in St. Olaf?
Say again?
Were you in St. Olaf?
In St. Olaf, I won't know really. I mean, I was really.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. We just said that we're connected through through the Golden Girls, and he doesn't remember what St. Olaf is.
Oh no, not St. Olaf.
So that's Minnesota.
You said in St. of. I'm sorry.
No, St. Olaf.
Okay.
Girl.
No. I was at St. Olaf. I did not see Rose there. It was called Elk River.
Okay, that sounds nice.
It was a nice little community, just like an hour away from St. Paul.
Right.
Yeah. But then that's when we moved to New Orleans.
And Nolans.
Yes, darling. Nolans. Cajun town. Yeah.
This just makes me feel hungry. And I've just had food just now.
You just ate a bunch of fried chicken in front of me.
I really did. I offered it, but you said no.
No, because I was getting wine.
Okay. Yes.
Let me first say, I am not a drunk.
No,
I'm an occasional drinker.
Yes.
But that doesn't make me a lightweight.
Yes. She is very much, oh God. Well, we're going to go through she and he because, that's us.
That's just,
Yeah, but Michael does get, we call it white girl wasted. He himself is the one who says white girl wasted. He's very much a lightweight, which is very funny to me because I don't want to put myself out there, but I can put it away.
I've seen you done it.
But yes, back to the story.
Right. So my dad put me in therapy for anger management with my stuff.
Right.
And they were scared for me because they didn't want me to become this angry white man.
Yeah.
Which is good on them.
Yeah.
Did I become it? No. But did I resent them for it? A little bit. Because you don't want to be called at school. Oh, excuse me. Edit that out.
Oh, me too.
You don't want to be called the kid that's going to therapy. They're automatically the weirdo, no matter what.
Yeah.
But a lot of the school I was going to, just for a few months, the kids were really understanding. Like, hey, you have to go to see the school therapist. That's okay. Most of us do it.
Yeah.
It was a weird, because they were all ADD. My friends were ADD, ADHD at that time as well. But then when I went to Nolans, it was a life-opening experience, and everyone took me in with open arms as well. Now, flashback to now here in Beijing. My 5 years here, I worked at the same work company that I did when I first started, but now I don't.
Yes.
Now I don't.
Yeah.
So most of my social people, my circle of friends, were my coworkers, their friends, and it was thought, oh, here's my Beijing family. All right. Cue into just this past, we'll say it started September.
End of summer. Autumn Beijing. Yeah.
We'll say end of September. The one person I thought I was really, really close with, we had a falling out over some of the stupidest shit ever.
Yeah.
And for our relationship, I was always usually the first one to apologize. And you know what? I just said to myself, you know what? I don't want to be it. I want this person to apologize first. And cue October, I perform Rocky Horror. I'm like sort of like thrown out of the equation of because she was about to leave. Also, they had goodbye videos for this person, and I did from the cast, and I wasn't told about it. And then it would come to Thanksgiving. I sat around people I knew and talked with, while everyone else, we did not talk to each other. Before that was before that Halloween. So I got a little bit wasted in my white girl way, we'll say that.
Right.
With some friends who drove me back home, but I lost my keys.
Right.
So I didn't think, who has my spare keys? It's this person.
Yes.
So she's like, I'm coming to get you, but she's hammered as well. She's blackout drunk.
Yes.
And she's riding a bike, and she's telling me to get on her bike, which scares me to fuck. I started sobering up real fast.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, okay, I'll get on the bike. Just drive me home and bring my key. Just take me to my house and give me my key, which she did. An hour after that, after I'm starting situating and start falling asleep, she calls me. It's like, I think we should talk in a real drunken manner. It's past 2:00 in the morning. My rule of thumb always is nothing good happens at 2 a.m.
Nothing. Especially in Beijing.
Exactly. Especially when someone is drunk.
Yeah.
So I told her, no, I don't want to do this drunkenly. I want us to be sober. Well, that's too bad. Have a good night.
Well.
Yeah. Cue her goodbye party. So apparently she sent me an invitation the day after, and I didn't even realize it. And I'm in my feels because everyone's saying, oh, you're coming to this party. I was like, what party? You should come. Well, it's her goodbye party. You should come. Show some love. Like, well, it's being thrown by someone else who didn't even message me about it, so I didn't feel wanted. And I told people that, and cue the next day, I get a message from her. You liar.
Oh my.
And a bunch of other hurtful stuff that she's accusing me of. And I delete the message, I turn off my phone, and I want to be in dark. That's when I got the message from you.
Right.
And I told you I just need time away from everything.
Yes.
And you asked me what's going on and all that. And I told you, it was your words, like, don't let this person make you feel this way. I was like, I started bawling even more because you showed so much heart and care. Oh God, I'm gonna cry now. So there's tissues.
Yeah, there are tissues here. Tissues. Yeah.
Because I thought everything around me was crumbling. So, cue 2 weeks after that, pretty much my whole circle that I was close with, no one talks to me. No one talked to me. No one messaged me. I heard someone say, there's this story going around. I shut down more.
Yeah.
And it took you saying, this door is closing for a reason. So that you yourself open up to more people.
Yes.
And it took me a while. We'll say it did take me a week or two to get back to my normal self, but it took me realizing that this group of friends did shelter me, and it was a friendship of acquaintances.
Yeah.
But it made me feel so... I never thought I would feel that dark. The only time I had felt that was back in that small town. And just like, why are we going to middle school, high school antics? So I've been healing myself, but also going to therapy.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone says you don't need therapy, they're fucking lying.
They're the ones who need therapy.
Exactly. Therapy, if you feel you need someone to talk to, and you don't know who to go to. You don't know how to talk to your friends, your families about it. A therapist is probably the one person that could probably help you out.
True.
All right. Now, you need to get yourself a good therapist. There's some therapists out there like, how does that make you feel? They're not listening.
I'm shaking my head in disapproval.
Exactly. They're not listening. An actual good therapist listens. Doesn't say how does that make you feel. It's like, well, I'm seeing this from you. They're making a conversation. They actually care about your well-being.
Right.
Right. And I'll admit, the therapist I got, she made me fill out a questionnaire to begin with.
Yeah.
She didn't make it a conversation.
Oh.
Yeah, and I paid $3,000 for this bitch.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was at a full private hospital.
Still.
But I've had other recommendations, and just for me, my healing comes from grandma, my nana.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and that woman, she could write a book on healing. And she would not care if she wanted to pull a surprise or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's that sweet of a person. But also having good friends, good people who can make you feel, uplift you, and to make you understand, okay, make you want to be a better version of yourself.
Right.
All right. I also did that old circle. I was like, oh, I can be a better version of a teacher. It was not me though. All right.
Yeah.
But now, lovely Mark, he makes me feel a better person myself.
You make me feel. Well, we're not even going to sing that.
No.
We don't have royalty money.
We don't.
But I have a very interesting question to ask you. I think it's interesting. Yeah. Since you're talking about recognizing trauma and finding healing. So, for example, many of us, especially those of us who are here in Beijing or away from home and have found, like, for example, with Zach, we talked about chosen families.
Yes.
And how important that is. So you have chosen your families, or you have chosen your chosen family here in Beijing. Oh, that sounds like I've repeated myself. Never you mind. So you have your chosen family here in Beijing, but as with every family, there is a lot of dysfunction.
There is.
And with all of us, it seems that we tend to have, very few of us seem to come from a point of happiness. Very few of us can say, I don't think I've heard many of us say, no, actually my life, my childhood, my growing up, my coming up story was a charmed one. All of us seem to have the same story of there was a point where I was negated as a human being, that my humanity was not fully acknowledged, A, B, C, D.
Exactly.
And then, in as much as all of us say that we're trying to find our people, our family, our tribe, we recreate the same dynamics that were in the world that we are trying, for lack of a better word, to run away from, or we're trying to seek shelter from. So in the same way that we had our bullies out there in the world, we had our disapproving family members, we had the ones who thought they knew better than us, and
we all had that one family member.
Yes, and the ones who thought that they could tell us what to do. It seems all of that is recreated within the queer community, and I can say in our queer community here in Beijing, that seems to be the case, because to provide context, this thing happened within the confines of the queer community. It did. So how do you think? Why do you think this happens? And how would you tell someone to deal with that?
Well, for me, this is my opinion. I think we first start off with the high school tribes.
Yes.
All right. I'm going very Mean Girls now. We have the plastics. We have the cool Asians. We have the nerdy Asians. We have the jocks. We have the best people ever and the worst.
Yeah.
All right. So we first start off by trying to find our tribe.
Yes.
All right. So when we have our tribe, if there's a fights in the tribe, it becomes very big. And usually that person who loses the battle, they get pushed out.
Yes.
Yeah. Now here in the queer community, it's a little bit different because everyone knows everyone. All right. So word gets spread around so fast about stuff. So when people's like, oh, you had a fight with so-and-so? How do you feel? Are you okay, babe? You can tell who's genuine and who's not genuine. For me, it's the fake tone. Are you okay, sweetie? Oh, that sounds so horrible.
It's the performative nature of it. Like we talk about, we've been talking about in the queer community, we've been talking about performative allyship, but there is also performative friendships. There are performative friendships in the queer community, and the one here in Beijing is no different, where there is very much a hierarchy of who is the coolest and who can I align myself with, and how does my alignment with this person end up benefiting me.
Exactly. I agree on that one. I definitely agree. We do see that very heavily in Beijing. I've heard outside of China, not so much, but in Beijing, definitely there is people who think, oh, they are the top tier. They're the top. Oh, excuse me. You're gonna be editing out so many fucking burps.
I am not editing that out. I'm just saying right now, that's a human moment. With the episode with Zach, we talked about acknowledging our humanity. Belching is part of our humanity. Sorry if you're offended, but that's just it.
For those who are offended, excuse me.
She's very much she's a lot more proper than this. Trust us.
I'm on my second glass. We're almost at white girl wasted.
We're not going to get to white girl wasted until we cover all the topics that we have here on
okay, then
yeah, and actually this might be a good time to take a break, so grab your wine, grab whatever it is that you need, and we'll be right back on Peking Duck. See you in a bit. Hey, Universe World, and welcome back to Peking Duck. And you're with me, Mark Alan Karanja, and my lovely guest,
Michael.
And the topic of conversation today is finding healing. Now, before we went for our break, we were talking about...
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the clickiness and how these traumatic experiences and also these hierarchies that perpetuate trauma in the outside world, outside of the queer community, are also recreated within our own community. And you were telling us about the mean girl hierarchy.
The mean girl hierarchy, yes. Okay, so yeah, everyone has their own special tribe. I said all about the plastics and all that stuff. So for my trauma, it brought me back to high school. And I started looking in, and thanks to Mark's words, it made me think, why am I suffering high school again? I'm a grown-ass man. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be back in the body of a teenager again. That was the worst time of my life.
Yeah.
It's worse for everyone. Let me put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Your teenage years are not the best years of your life. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you say they are, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right? But it just brought me back into that. Why am I being the frickin' freak to a bunch of mean girls?
And that's usually the question, because we allow ourselves, or rather, I wouldn't say allow ourselves, because that would be saying that we have a lot more control than we actually do, is we fall back into familiar patterns of trauma and abuse, I feel, because we go back, we are regressed to that place. And there is a lot of data out there, or there is a lot of information out there that talks about how people who are bullied, people who go through trauma when they are younger, are essentially that age until they deal with that trauma. Yeah. So whenever that trauma of yours happened, you always go back to being that 15, 16-year-old insecure person.
Oh God, did I say that I go back to my 11-year-old? That sucks.
Apparently that's what happens. Yeah. Until you deal with the trauma. And that's the reason why you are so easily triggered, and even your own responses. Because you know, when these things happen, you think, I'm an accomplished adult. I live abroad, for heaven's sake. I have an expansive group of friends. I have my own money. I am self-sufficient. I am independent. I am a positive contributing member of society.
And then something bad, something terrible happens, and bam.
And what happens? Like, for example, with you felt like you wanted to go away and lock out the world.
I wanted to disappear.
Yes.
My words for you two literally were, I want to disappear.
And I remember hearing that, and I was like, no, ma'am.
You literally pulled me up like, no, I will not let this happen to you.
Yes, and
Oh God, here comes tears again.
Well, Blanche is rather emotional. These Southern Belles are rather emotional.
I have emotional needs.
So, in that question, how do you think past and present stage bits of trauma or moments or traumatic moments have affected you or affect you in the way that you interact with the world, in the way that you see yourself, in the way that you view your future, just you vis-a-vis the world?
Well, growing up, I felt like I need to be my P's and Q's. I need to be aware of what I say. Now, growing up, maturing, you've seen this. I'm not careful about what I say now.
Oh no.
No. I let my opinion be heard now.
She is reckless with the mouth. Reckless in the best way. Reckless in the best way.
How are you gonna take that one?
Reckless. When we say reckless, at least when I say reckless, what I mean is she says what she says and she means what she means. Exactly. That's all.
And I always tell people, if I offend you, tell me. I sometimes don't realize it because a lot of people don't know this about me. I do have Asperger-like tendencies.
Yes.
I don't have full-blown Asperger's.
And we had a moment like that where now I will talk about my own issues with trauma and how they affect me, because the way I dealt with, for example, bits of bullying when I was in, say, I had a wonderful experience when I was in primary school, because we don't have elementary school and middle school and high school in Kenya.
You're so
we have primary school, that's 8 years, or the system that I went through was 8 years of primary school and 4 years of secondary school or high school.
Okay.
Then 3 years of college if you're going to college, and then 4 years or 4 years if you're going to a proper university. Okay. So there are certain levels of schooling. But for me, primary school was lovely. I had good friends, and I think the worst thing that happened to me in primary school was I was outed. And after being outed by a teacher,
wait, by a teacher?
By a teacher. I cover this. I don't want to keep on repeating the same thing, because I did this.
I'll hear the podcast later.
Not even the podcast. This is in the interview that I did with my friend Kendall Tyson. Yes.
Okay, I need to go back. I need to get that website from you later.
And for everyone else, I will give the information with the information for this podcast, where you can find her channel on YouTube, and please subscribe and watch the wonderful series as and when you can.
We're just sponsoring Kendall, and I've only met her one time, and we're trying to get all this attention to her.
But she's wonderful. She's one of those people that
is that bitch for your birthday.
Yes. She is very much affecting change, and we are trying to affect change as much as we possibly can.
Exactly.
But for me, so the way I grew up with a mother who was very, very headstrong, who was a single mother and had to assert herself in a very male-dominated world in Africa.
Do we have the same mother?
Maybe. And what I grew up seeing, and from her and also my grandmothers, we say like our nanas are our source of inspiration, and my nana is my source of inspiration in many ways, is there's no cowering from there's no cowering from people who push you. And what happens with me is I assert myself even more.
Yes.
And you and I
we
had a little bit of it wasn't even a disagreement. It was a misunderstanding of terms.
Exactly.
It was a linguistic difference.
It really was.
It was a linguistic difference. And what happened was I came out very, very strongly, because I'm very territorial.
Exactly.
And I make very clear what my boundaries are, even though I'm a very friendly human being, as you might have heard. I am very strong, and I am very fierce about my opinions and my views, and you are not going to do something that I will not, has not, or I feel goes against what I want to do.
Exactly.
While not trying to inflict myself on people.
Yeah.
And what you did was...
I was very emotional. I came to a point where I understand everyone's opinions, and I also speak out for those who are maybe a little bit more timid, because I was very timid.
Yes.
All right. And I will say we'll say this, in our small little group, I sent a message just saying, speak out for those people that were timid, and Mark decided to tear me a new one. Let's put it that way nicely.
And it wasn't the intention, to be honest. It wasn't the intention.
Yeah, it came down to it was just like, wait a minute. I said, hold up, because I felt all this negative energy that it was a lot of pressure, as well as I said, wait a minute, let me speak out how I was feeling. And this is what my thought is. I did explain, because I do have my Asperger-like tendencies. This is how I think. And all the negative, when I get pushed, I go straight into my tears. Everyone will know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it did feel like I thought I was doing something very nice, very calm, and very understanding.
Yes.
And it did seem at the time.
I did not think so. What my opinion was he was doing something that was not called for. I think those were my words.
Yes,
nobody asked for this.
We'll say it like this. You thought I was gatekeeping.
Yeah.
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 But I was not at that time.
Yeah.
And we'll go to RuPaul's Drag Race and like on the show. I feel very attacked.
and I was basically Gia Gunn going, well, what you want to do is not necessarily what you're gonna do.
You did. You totally did. But as you hear from our cackles, we talked about it. We had a very long conversation.
Yes. And the thing about it is, so in this, because all of us deal with our traumas and all of us try to face or escape our traumas in different ways. So what happened was, I realized that I had come on in my very Mark way, very forcefully. And poor Michael had decided that he didn't want anything to do with it. And I realized, as I was about to explain to you what happened, or my thought process, I found out that you blocked me.
I didn't block you. I deleted.
You deleted me, and I was
don't block. I delete.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God, I did push too far. And after we came back, because
after Tosh sent the message,
yes,
I friended you back.
Yes, because that
Tosh
is
a very good, lovely friend of ours.
Yes, Tosh will be on the show at some point.
Oh,
Definitely.
God, I wait for that
Definitely.
One. I can't wait for that one. I want to be on podcast with her also.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Oh gosh.
But this we're doing that thing again. But essentially those were two very distinct reactions to when we are challenged or when we feel that someone is invading our space or is threatening our points of safety.
Yes.
One of us is proactive. The other one, I wouldn't say reactive, but you're also proactive, but in a different way.
I'm a little bit more submissive, I would say.
Yes. Well, I am. Oh, yeah.
You're very dominant. We'll say. Why are we going to BDSM terms now?
That's you. That's you.
True.
That is you. That is you.
That's true.
But going back to the point,
yes.
When we talk about family trauma and even these traumatic instances that happen within our chosen families or our born or given families.
I can get a family trauma already.
Yes. How do we, or how do you try, we'll say try, because sometimes we try and we don't succeed. How do you try to hold people accountable for what it is that they have done?
I do ask them, why are you doing this? I always ask the question, why? And then I was like, okay, explain to me your thoughts. Tell me what you are thinking.
Yeah.
And then so I did. I said, that's what you did with you. That's what you did with me. You told me what you were thinking. And that's why I was like, thank you for telling me this. This is something I need to learn from also about myself. And this is just for like my chosen family. Now, I will say it's very much different with my physical family.
Ooh.
All right, so.
Spill the tea, sis.
Oh, this is going to be a cry. This is going to be a tearjerker. So.
Oh, dear Lord. We have the tissues.
We have the tissues.
Yes, here we are.
So, growing up, my mom, like Mark's mom, is very headstrong. But my mother also, and like most mothers, they have a plan for their child.
Yes.
My mother had plans for her daughter, my older sister, Wendy.
Yes.
And for me. My sister just abandoned her. She did not want anything to do with her. And that's her reasoning. I know the story, but we're not going to get into that because that's not about her. It's about me.
It's about you.
It's about me. It's the me show.
It's about me.
Yes.
Right.
But my plan for my mother her plan for me was, I was to get a good degree, get married, buy a house with a large backyard, put a trailer in it, and to move her into it, and get married and have children.
Oh, honey.
Yes.
Oh, honey.
Oh, yes.
Oh, honey.
At the age of 15, I was going back and forth between holidays from my mom to my dad.
Yeah.
Because it's joint custody. My dad had primary custody, but it was still joint custody.
Yeah.
Well, me and my mom fought like every teenager does.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, not every teenager. My mom and I were like this.
Well,
just saying.
Okay. Every 15.
Thanks, Mom.
Every 15-year-old white American teenager has their rebel period.
Right.
I won't say this is my rebel period though.
Mm-hmm.
This was me, like, my mom was trying to force me to stay in her house because I did something she felt was bad. I was just visiting her in her small little one studio with the basement, staying downstairs in the basement. Yes, I was Harry Potter, y'all.
Good
I
Lord.
was sleeping in a bed in her basement, the size of a cupboard.
Ooh.
But don't get me wrong, it's all she had. It was either the bed downstairs in the basement or I slept on the couch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And my mom said, I expect you to have this house clean by the time I'm like, I don't live here. I'll clean up my space, but I'm not cleaning the whole house. And you know how some parents with all the full names, you make you outside of your trouble?
Yeah, yeah.
She went Michael B.
Oh, no.
And that's my middle name. She didn't go Johns.
Oh,
Actually, my whole name. But I was like, no. And we started fighting, and she slapped me.
Ooh.
Hard. Right across the face.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be more. There's more. It doesn't end there.
Okay.
Me, and I was a little shit this time, and I will admit that. I slapped her back.
Oh! Now listen.
I know.
Now listen.
I said I was a little shit at the time.
If this was an African mom, we'd be talking about in memory of Michael. Because you would have been seven kinds of dead.
I then said, after that slap fest, I said, I want the phone. I want to call home. I want to get home.
Yeah.
When I said home, I was back to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
She literally said no, and she took the phone and raced to the bathroom. I raced back trying to get it. I was like, I want the phone. I want the phone. Reaching, I didn't know that was her face. She fucking bit me. That hand, I screamed, ow, pull my hand out. The first thing I think is fucking run.
She bit you?
Right here. What I'm pointing to mark is like the meaty part underneath your under your index finger and your middle finger.
Oh my God. What in the... Oh.
There's
okay.
More.
There's more.
There's more.
I'm sipping my wine.
Yeah, you need a sip.
Oh God.
There's more. So the first thing I think is run. So I run.
Uh-huh.
I run down the street fast as I can. I make it to a park. Now, this is a time where AT&T had a free 1-800 number that you can dial and you can get connected with someone who has a 1-800 number for your phone.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma had one.
Right.
So I see a payphone. Of course I have no money.
Duh.
This is like early 2000s. There's no cell phones out also for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I dialed the 1-800 number. It's busy. So I try again. I realize she's not answering the phone. I just start walking. I just keep walking, and next thing I know,
Police?
Yes. The police pull me over, and they say, "Are you Michael?" I was like, "Who are you?" And yes, they say, "We need to drive you back to your mother." I'm like, I say first to the police officer, "No." And he asks, "Why?" I tell him the exact same story as I told you. And it's like, okay, we need to take a picture of this, we need to write it down, but we still need you to come back to your mother.
Ew.
To get your stuff.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to arrest you. You're not getting arrested, but we need to find a place safe for you.
Mm.
Obviously, there is issues, and and they asked me, "Where's your dad?" I told them, my dad is in Louisiana.
Right.
So I get my stuff. Luckily enough, my mom has a friend who is understanding about the situation. She's like, "I'm not taking you back to your mother. I'm not letting your mother talk to you. I have already contacted your uncle who lives in Las Vegas."
Mm-hmm.
Now this being said, this uncle is a family friend who's 60 years old.
Okay.
With his family. He's married and with kids.
But still.
So it's like, you're going to have to stay a week before your dad can get you a ticket home.
Right.
That's what happened. And once I get back, once I get off that plane, see my dad, he just hugs me. He's like, "You don't have to go back to her ever again."
Oh.
Now, that being said, my dad is very loving. He's like, but we need to get you some therapy again. Because, again, they thought I had anger issues.
Oh, no.
So, for 2 years of 8th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I had to see a therapist once a month. And my main teacher that I saw every day, they had to fill out a report. And they asked me one day, and this sweet math teacher, algebra teacher, she's like, Michael, what's this about? Is this about your stepmom? Because I understand, I'm a stepmom myself. It's like, no, it's my therapist. My parents think I have anger issues. And she's like, you have anger issues? You're the sweetest person here. And it's like, it's a long story. I told her, it's a long story, but I need this filled out for my therapist. It's like, okay, no problem.
And I think that's something that's very interesting when I'll reference the conversation that I had with Zach the other day about when we were talking about, and also a conversation that I had with Kendall about support systems when we were growing up. And I said, personally, I had none. Because I mean, I will couch that by saying that people around me, I would think, didn't know any better and were only acting with the information that they knew, on the information that they knew. It just wasn't the right information.
Yes.
And the thing is, for us, for our generation, there is a little bit, I personally will speak for myself and say, I'm a little bit envious of the kids who are growing up now and the generation right after us, because they grew up in a world where people were very much conscious of trying not to repeat the same mistakes that their parents made.
Exactly.
And so, whereas we grew up in a world where if it couldn't be solved by drugs or by church, then you are the problem. And that's how they dealt with you, that as a 15-year-old, that these adults decided that you were the one who had the problem, instead of thinking, what are the factors around us? Even if he has anger issues, because that's the thing, even if you had anger issues, nobody thought to ask, well, what is this anger coming from?
Exactly.
That's the one question that everyone should have been asking.
And they should have.
But now we have the generation of parents that go, listen, I am not trying to be the source of trauma for my kids because my parents were a source of trauma for me, And it's a very, very interesting thing, because when then they make you, when you are then the problem, it becomes difficult for you to hold those people accountable.
It is.
Yeah.
Like for my dad and my stepmom. Now, don't get me wrong. My stepmom, I call her Suzanne, and she allows me. She is a Cajun woman. She's an artist. She's a nurse. But she's talked to me. She's like, yeah, I did drugs before, Michael. I'm like, why are you talking about me now? I'm just asking for an art opinion.
But that's showing you the full, not even vulnerability, like the scope of their humanity. Because I think that's something that for us, like we joke about it a lot in the African community, and I think I've heard it with my Black American friends, how your mom is your mom.
Yes.
Or your parents are your parents. They're not human. They're not anything else. They're your parents. And anything else that could possibly make them human is entirely removed from you, and you only come to find out much, 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 much later on in life what these people were.
Exactly.
And I'm lucky enough because I saw this with some of the members of my family, and with like some
I was
of my
about
aunts.
you right?
Oh no! This is not going to be that day. I'm with you, Michael. You make me smile all the time. And whereas I was very lucky because I grew up, it was just me and my mom, and we lived in the city, and because of our circumstances, I saw the full scope of my mother's humanity. And I think that's also something that allowed me to be fully cognizant of mine, and whereas remembering other queer kids that I grew up around, even in school, whereas they were very clear about, I am the problem, I was very much about, no, you guys are the problem. I am fine. Okay, you will come to find out later. Because what happened with me was, as I was growing up, I was brought around a lot of older people, and also because my mom hung out with a lot of her co-workers, her colleagues would come around, and we would, because I was an only child, and she had a social we have had this conversation before. She said, just because I'm a parent doesn't mean that I'm going to kill my social life. And she was able to balance the two of them very well.
But some parents can't.
But some parents can't. Yeah. And also, I was lucky enough to be one of the younger cousins in my very large extended family. So what I knew when I was growing up, I knew whatever is happening in high school, whatever is happening in primary school, all this cliquiness, all of this does not does not mean anything in the real world, because I saw what my cousins' lives were like, and none of their high school friends, none of all those people who they thought were super important to them were there.
Just become regular people.
They just become regular people. So for me in high school, even though it was a very difficult thing to do at the time, when you task a 13-year-old with survive until this is over, for 4 years, I just knew I just need to hold on for the next couple of years, and they will see. Yeah, and to be honest, I've seen very, very few of them. Very, very few of them. But that is something that for me.
But now we're saying as adults, some people still hold those ties.
Yes.
And like, really, are you so stuck in this high school mentality you can't mature as a human being?
But let us even say that person is stuck. Let's say that they're a record, and the needle is stuck in the groove.
Okay.
It's playing the same track over and over and over again. And they're now in this community, this society, this world, this family that we're creating for ourselves, this chosen family that we're creating for ourselves. How would you tell someone to either recognize such behavior in those people around them, or protect themselves, or for lack of a better word, avoid such people, avoid falling into the same traps? Because that's the same thing.
Okay.
We usually say that history repeats itself. And in as much as we would like to say, yes, now we live in this world where our identity is affirmed and recognized, we still have the same prom king, prom queen mentality, and the same people are causing us the same stresses.
Yes.
Only now it's worse because you realize this is my chosen family.
Well, am I drunk or sober for this one? Kidding. Sorry, y'all. I do a lot of humor. That's me. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first, I'm going to say, do you hear yourself talking? I know it sounds like a real bitchy move to say.
It's a very important one.
But it's a important one. I ask them, do you hear yourself talking? I will say I've had 2 instances where I had to say this to people. One person they both didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
One person said to me, be more gay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Exactly what does that even mean?
I want to fucking know that also.
I would like to know what, and I've had this said to someone who was very near and dear to me as well, that they were told they're not as gay as someone else is.
Yeah.
Or they were told, listen, now, I'm going to stop being eloquent for a minute. This is just stupid.
It is stupid. And for me, I'm like, okay, what do you mean by be more gay? I'm not going to be like, yes, queen, go for it, girl. Ooh, do a death drop splat.
Did you just say splat?
I did.
Okay, he said splat. We're moving.
But I am my own version of myself. I don't adapt. Yes, I have my queer identity. Yes, I am gay. Mm-hmm. But it's not my whole life. Mm-hmm. So the people I feel like who are telling that for us, I feel like you need to mature as a person. You're going to cause me so much grief that I need to cut you out of my life.
Yeah.
Now, the other person, all right.
They're possible victims.
They're possible victims, yes. Mm-hmm, but this other person, okay. So we know I have Asperger tendencies. And yes. People have said my manners are not the best. Like, they're saying, I've been told, you don't come early to a party.
Is that a thing?
Apparently, it's in the Miss Manners book that you don't come early to a party.
Uh-huh.
And
in that case, listen, I'm African fashionably late.
Yeah.
But cheers to that.
But I'm usually one who likes to be early.
Yes. But you're also a planner.
I am a planner.
You're very much a planner. I know that
very much a planner. Yes. I plan everything out to a T. Mm-hmm. I really do. Mm-hmm. But when someone tells me you're too early, you shouldn't be early, it's bad manners. I'm like, but I've been told all my life, be early to something. You don't know if something might happen.
Yes.
Because people might need your help.
Yes, be prompt at the very least. Be prompt.
It caused a fight. I said, that's not how I was raised. That's not how I see it. This person said, that's how the world sees it.
What world?
this
Again, these generalities. What world are we talking about?
exactly.
Who are these
the
people?
way I was raised is different from the way someone else is raised.
Yeah.
My viewpoint is very much different from theirs.
Yes.
Or the world, as they put it.
Yes.
I guess their world is how they see everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it did make me start questioning, do I really want to be friends with this person?
Right.
And the friendship got broken off.
And rightly so, I feel.
Rightfully so.
Mm.
All right. So I'm now looking at the world for my own self-healing and my own self-growth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it healing is growth. Let's put it that way first.
Healing is growth. Healing is growth. Yes.
All right. For my own self-growth, I've now I surround myself by people. I run game nights. You see that. Yeah. I talk to people. Most of the people I know are at game nights. I'm like, okay, you're a good person.
For those who don't know, we have a WeChat group, and Michael is known as the Gamer Tamer because we have a queer game night every fortnight, I believe. Every fortnight.
Every other night.
Every other Monday.
Yes.
Every other Monday of the month. And they're usually in different locations in Beijing. So if you want to join us, please, feel free.
Just look either mark out like, hey, I want Michael's WeChat. I'm like, okay, bitch.
Yeah, we will include Michael's WeChat with this podcast as well.
All right. Just tell me where you got the WeChat from. Because we're like, who the fuck are you? No, I'll go, hello. How do I know you?
Yes, that's more proper.
Yes.
That is in line with a Southern debutante.
Well, that's what I'm drinking.
But I have one more very important question to ask you. And this is a question that I've been asking myself a lot lately. Okay. As you know, I am someone who not only demands a lot from people in terms of good things. I hold people to a very, very high standard.
You did.
I also hold myself to a very high standard. And this is not me bragging or anything, because and I've explained this. I explained this in the previous podcast and also in the thing with Kendall. I'll keep on plugging Kendall's.
We're going to be plugging Kendall every single podcast, yes. People. Just put it that
way. And that is because
we've gone off topic a lot.
No. It's all in the topic. Don't worry.
Okay.
Because when you are told you're the problem, you take yourself apart and you're constantly very, very hard on yourself, and you hold yourself to a very high standard. And before we even started having this conversation, we had a private conversation about my own personal experiences leading up to who I am and where I am today.
Yes.
But the one thing I find very difficult to do by myself, for myself, to myself, is forgive myself for moments where maybe I let others take advantage of me, where I should have advocated for myself, but I wasn't able to. Sometimes I just say, I'm still angry at myself at those moments, even though I recognize I neither had the capacity nor the language nor the ability to advocate for myself, or advocating for myself at that time would have been physically injurious. It could have been dangerous for me had I said something to protect myself, to speak up for myself. But I still hold that against myself. And my question is, in your journey to finding healing, to finding mental health, to bettering your mental health, how do you find ways, or have you found a way that you can share with us in which you have forgiven yourself, or in ways that you forgive yourself?
I don't think I have found a way yet. I still feel like everything that's happened to me, I'm still trying to figure out, was I the problem sometimes?
Yes.
And everyone knows I have the biggest confidence, but I really don't.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I've been told so many bad things about myself, so my self-confidence is really low. But I fake it well. I do fake it well. But
you fake it till you make it. That's survival.
That is true. It is survival. But I'm starting to realize my actions are my own thoughts. I can't control others.
Yeah.
I can't control what they're gonna say, how they feel.
Yeah.
So I'm now forgiving myself for how I put myself in that situation. But I'm also forgiving the other person. Like, I'm sorry you feel this way.
Yes, because that is a burden on them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can only say, I'm sorry you feel this way. That's all I'm going to be able to say to them. Because this is what you're projecting to me. You're saying, I'm doing this, blah blah blah. You're doing. This is how the world sees. I can't even think straight sometimes. Fuck. But it's just more like, for me personally.
Yeah.
I'm now seeing. I play the vents over and over sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
And it just eventually becomes realization is like, Michael, you're not the problem. You have to self-realize it sometimes. And that's the hardest thing to do sometimes.
It truly is.
Right. My therapist that I paid $3,000 for, she described it as cognitive therapy, and it really is real understanding what your actions are and how it affects people. If your actions didn't affect this person affect this person like this, it's not you. It's either your fault or it's their fault for it appearing like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's how I'm seeing it. But I don't think there's truly. I haven't found it yet. For me, I think for me truly, I'm going to still be like this because, girl, I'm 35 years old. I'm stuck in my ways a little bit still.
It's an unlearning process.
It is
rather than a learning process. A lot of the time, dealing with trauma.
You have to unlearn some behavior. Like when I was growing up, I learned not to swallow things in. And I learned that. Now I'm unlearning, not being so open, but being cautious about who I'm open with.
Yes.
All right. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, like me and Mark, I could sit here talking forever with Mark. He's probably one of my closest friends here.
And I'd be more than happy to listen.
You would, but then eventually we're going to be cackling like we do now.
We do. We do cackle a lot.
Well, you don't want to start a girl.
It's happiness. It's joy.
And that's it. I think that's our solution right there.
It's joy. It's finding joy.
We have to find the joy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that is our solution. We have to find the joy. We can't find the joy. We're just going to be miserable, bitter Bettys.
And no, it doesn't go with anything in my wardrobe. I'm sorry.
It gives you wrinkles.
It does. Yeah. It does. I mean,
we can't be the Karens.
One of the best jokes I've ever heard is black don't crack, but it does droop.
I already droop.
I'm not looking.
Oh shit! I already cracked.
I'm not looking to droop, and I think because now we're hitting the 57-minute mark.
Oh gosh!
I think that is a wonderful place to end this discussion. So to everyone out there,
find the joy in your life. If it's people around you that brings you joy, find them, hold on to them closely.
Find the joy.
There you go.
Because you never know.
You really don't know. You really don't know, because sometimes. Oh gosh, I'm going on a tangent now.
Okay. Before we go.
This wine is good. Also, y'all. I'm still on glass 2.
Before we go too far, we would like to thank you so much for staying on with us and listening to our cackles, but also listening to the deep conversations that we've had. And I'd like to thank you so much, Michael.
Oh, anytime.
For being on the record. Anytime. For being on the record with me, because these are conversations that we've had before, but this is the first time we're having it on the record.
Yes. For
all our little Piquing ducks out there. And we're hoping to catch you on the next one. So until then,
see ya.
再见.